Rush, we said.
All right, guys. Episode 10. We're here. Right into it.
Yeah.
The 1-0.
1-0. So
we're rich now, right?
we're filming for the first time ever. How does it make you feel?
I feel naked.
I feel a little naked.
Not really.
I have clothes on.
You look more naked than both of us, though.
Yeah. I'm showing a lot of kneecap today. You guys both have pants on.
We did a case study and we found that people like knees.
Is that a thing?
No,
I don't think that's
No
a
one
thing.
likes
either.
I'm just from Southern California. It was 80 something degrees today, and I thought wearing pants would be agony.
Dude, I realized that, I've always known I don't like hot weather.
I thought you were going to say knees, but go on.
Knees creep me out.
Yeah.
They really do.
They're a weird body part.
They creep me out a lot.
What about the heads and shoulders? We're good? Just knees? That was a bad one. I'm
Dad
sorry.
jokes. Let's talk about something serious here, Jeremy. What do you want to talk about today?
Well, I wanted to hear about the dead people at Mammoth. I'm sorry to take their deaths as a source of content.
There's like a flu going around. I don't really know much about it. The Henta flu, is that what it's called?
I literally have never heard about this until you told me about it.
You just mentioned it, so we're going.
I don't have a phone to look at it and read about it. Yeah, I don't know. I think a handful of people died from some flu called the Henta flu out there.
And it has something to do with soda cans.
Well, I was reading that, rats piss on shit. I think people pick up a can and then they drink out of the can and they don't realize that there's been bugs crawling on it and rats peeing on it and all that, right?
Exactly.
I've always been paranoid about that and wipe it off anyways, or at the very least wipe it off like that does anything.
But that is a plague.
Rinse it. Huh?
It's the plague.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Henta plague.
Well, great. Bingo
Time to
card.
bust out our masks.
That's about all I got on the Henta plague.
Well,
the next virus or whatever, I guess.
that's fair. The population was getting too large anyway.
Yeah, well, we lost 4.
Yeah. Oh, rest in peace.
I think it was 3 or 4. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I do know about widgets and gidgets and wadgets.
What about him? Dr. Seuss?
No, so Donald Trump was
I don't know.
just giving a speech. It was like right before he announced the tariffs, like today or yesterday. He was talking about like the people in the manly states where they used to make cars and mine coal. And he's like, these guys have big manly hands. They don't want to sit in factories making gidgets and widgets and wadgets. They want to make machines, like big manly.
Aren't all those machines made up of gidgets and widgets and wadgets? Especially the new ones, definitely widgets.
No, microchips. Like, no, we don't want microchips. We want like pipes.
Is that why Elon decided to bounce? Because his cars are all microchips?
I don't think that's why. So this is actually part of, I feel like Elon is just always going to be in the topics until he crashes and burns, which I think is going to happen
It's
soon.
happening.
I'm so here for it. Yeah, I want to talk about celebrity
Celebrity.
because I think it defines a lot of our lives right now.
Celebrity in what sense?
In every sense, because like I think there's a lot of angles we could approach this from, but so much of our current state of affairs is defined by celebrities, right? Donald Trump is a celebrity.
Yeah.
I think that's why a lot of people hate him.
Well, it's funny because a lot of people used to
originally.
love him because of that.
Yeah.
What the fuck was that show again?
Oh,
The Apprentice?
Yeah,
The Apprentice. Yeah.
I literally have never seen an episode.
I think as a kid, I owned a Donald Trump brand tie because I was in I was in basketball at like 6th grade or something, and I had to wear a tie
Yeah.
to the games, like at school, like before the game or whatever. And I like loved this stupid shiny purple ass fucking Donald Trump tie that I had.
Did it just say Trump down the middle of it?
No, on the back it was like just said Trump brand or
Okay.
whatever, right?
That's
Like it
off-brand.
was like his brand.
Yeah, I would assume that it had to have his name somewhere.
Yeah,
like,
no, it was just like, you buy a fucking Calvin Klein or whatever on the back.
Yeah.
And I think people liked him back in people obviously still, some people, a good portion of the United States still like him. It was easier to swallow then because he was a joke, and it was like it was funny, right? It was a show. It was a reality show. People liked it because it was quirky and funny, in the sense like he was being serious, but I don't think anybody took it seriously.
Really?
Everybody loved the You're fired.
Yeah, I know.
was my
now
best.
I'm over it.
That was my best. I
Now
apologize.
I'm over it.
And he doesn't even use that as president. I've never heard him say you're fired to somebody.
It's
in that
probably copywritten to like and like
Oh, and he
owned by the
doesn't own it.
production studio
Yeah.
or something.
You're probably right.
He probably can't fire anybody. He has to get somebody else to do it.
That's like the Get Ready to Rumble.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a copyright.
You-
That
you-
was a no copyright infringement. I'm giving it. I don't know the dude's name. What's his name?
I don't have my phone. I can't look that up. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
like he has a brother that does the same thing, but he has his own like catchphrase. So like you can't say that at a boxing match or something, or like you can't announce it on live TV or whatever. I don't know how it works, but
Yeah.
it's copywritten.
Just like the birthday song.
Yeah, which is weird.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, the reason
Oh.
you can't you notice how whenever you go to like Red Robin or whatever, and they sing a birthday song, it's never "Happy Birthday to You."
I've never noticed
It's
that.
clicking now.
Yeah.
Things are starting to fall into place.
It's always like
because-
happy birthday. So-
Nobody bothered copywriting that.
yeah.
Yeah, some family of the guy who wrote that like 170 years ago. I guess it can't be that long, but statute of limitations. But yeah, some family owns the Happy Birthday song, and they'll sue. They won't sue families for using it, but they'll sue companies for using it.
Interesting. This is kind of related to celebrity a bit. But I was listening to something today that was talking about how the way copyright is used currently is like a sham.
I knew it.
It's like overused, or this person was saying it was overused, right? But it was in association with AI, because Sam Altman is essentially trying to like wipe away copyright from artists, so that way they can use artists' creative material for training, right?
Yeah.
And they're saying that copyright is essentially meant to last like 10 years or something like that, and then expire.
Who said that? Sam Altman?
The thing that I was listening to was saying it's basically supposed to be like a limited amount of time, but Disney has taken it over for like corporate greed. This is what they're saying: corporate greed to protect Mickey Mouse and like the characters. So it's gone on to like 70 years or something like that, to where before it was like much less.
I can see that.
I personally agree with copyrights being they don't need to be extended for like hundreds of years, but I think they should be extended to like the length of a human life, right? Like 100 years.
Like say Tolkien was still alive. If he was, if he wrote Lord of the Rings and now he's 70 but now it's like public domain, that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah,
Sure.
especially when they're taking fucking AI to train it to like.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this on the pod before, but I think, tokenization will make it allowed so that it's perpetual, so that your kids can inherit that.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
right.
But I don't think they should inherit it forever. It's kind of funny. I'm reading the oldest book I've ever read right now, which is the Aeneid, which is older than the Bible. So that's a little flex there. Take that, Bible readers. No offense though. It's about if you've never heard of it, it's about Aeneas, who is a
Watch your mouth in here.
sorry. He is a Trojan War survivor, essentially one of the very few. So I'm learning all this like ancient history. A lot of it is obviously dramatized. There are gods involved.
It's fake news.
Yeah, it's fake news. I read, and I'm sure both of you did at some point, read parts of the Odyssey in like high school.
I don't think I actually read anything in high school.
Oh, but your
I don't-
teacher expected you to have read.
Never read the Odyssey. Sorry.
How about the Iliad?
Nope.
No. Well, Homer Simpson is named after another Homer.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that Homer wrote two stories called the Iliad and the Odyssey. I believe the Iliad is about the Trojan War, and the Odyssey is about Odysseus being a Greek king. And I can't for the life of me remember why I brought this up.
I was going to say, where's this going?
That's a great history lesson.
Well, you wanted to talk about celebrity, right? So where were you going with the whole celebrity thing?
I was going everywhere. But, these are actually some of our earliest celebrities.
That is true.
Sure.
I didn't think about that. I mean, do you think they were celebrities at the time though? Right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
So
They're gods. Like they're heroes.
you think so?
Yeah.
I feel like,
People gave so many shits.
so like you're talking like authors or
No,
story
the
writers.
characters. They don't care so much about the.
Got it.
Yeah, so the characters are real people.
Oh, okay.
Like they suspect like Odysseus was a real person, Aeneas was a real person,
Just like Jesus was a real person.
probably.
I'm not saying he is or he's not, or she.
Well,
Whichever your beliefs allow.
Well, isn't there proof that he did exist or something, like at least as a carpenter or something like that?
I think there's a decent amount of evidence that he was a human that walked the planet. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there was at least somebody named Jesus around.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not he was called Jesus at the time,
Yeah. Probably
And
not.
the skin color, unsure, right?
Yeah.
A lot of
That's what cracks me up when you go into the churches today. It's just this like super white dude with like long flowing hair. It's like Fabio up there.
getting blonder
like,
and
really?
blonder by the year.
Yeah.
brought to you by. Can't say it. No, we don't have any official shampoo sponsors, but if anybody out there,
So back to the characters of these stories. Like, tell us about, what challenges do they face? What thematics of the stories here?
so this was taking place during a turbulent time in Rome when it was written, right? It was right around the time of Caesar, but right before or after. So it was during the time of Augustus, who was considered like one of the best, actually, Greek or Roman emperors, leaders. I'm not sure if he was an emperor. And he basically commissioned Virgil to write this story about the founding of Rome. It sort of, it dramatizes the story of like the Trojan survivors. It wasn't just Aeneas, like leaving Troy and then traveling around. So it's basically, they took the exact model of the Odyssey and like put it onto this newer character who was like Odysseus is Greek, Aeneas is Trojan, and they were on opposite sides of the war, right?
Mm.
I always thought that I guess I never thought about it, but the Trojan horse was made by the Greeks, right? The Trojan horse was used to destroy Troy.
Right. What a fucking crazy concept.
Yeah.
And also, why would you see this thing and you don't, like, it doesn't even click at all?
So
Oh my God.
Yeah.
This giant horse.
What the
This is
fuck?
awesome.
Yeah.
Let's bring this inside our castle
I was
walls.
like, how dumb do you have to be?
So I've actually read this part of
Yeah.
the story. I'm two books in out of 12.
I mean, they're short books.
They're
I
short
imagine.
books. It's an epic poem.
Okay.
It's like the length of a novel.
Okay.
The Trojan horse happens in book 2. And basically the Greeks leave, like they've been fighting, trying to destroy Troy for a while. And the Greeks leave and they leave behind this giant horse. And it's much bigger than it's depicted in the cartoons. Like when they describe it in the book, they're saying it's like the size of like a ship, which kind of makes sense. This is massive horse. And the Trojans are like trying to decide what to do with it. And basically there's like two camps. They're like, this is definitely a trap.
Yeah. Didn't like some of them say to burn it?
Yeah, they want to burn
Yeah.
it. And basically what happened was there was one Greek who like stayed behind, who pretended to be somebody who the Greeks had like misused. Like they had like, he's like, I'm never going to see my family again. My wife and kids are, basically dead to me because I'm never going to be able to go home. And by the way, you should definitely take this horse inside your city, right? Like,
Use the salesman.
yeah.
Oh man.
And so he pretended to be like a Greek fallen from grace, and he tricked them into bringing it inside, and then they kill everyone.
How pissed are you when you're the guy that's like, this is a trap, and then it is a trap,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Son of a bitch. I told you.
you're there fighting everybody. God damn it.
It was a trap, as we all learned.
It's a trap. Yeah, that's
There's definitely some alternative realities out there where that fucker went up in flames though, and people just died inside.
oh man, how insane. Like they would have popped out though.
What's crazy is I'm pretty
know?
sure in the book,
Just battled right then and there.
I'm pretty sure in the book they hear some like suspicious rattling.
Yeah, I maybe I have read this fucking thing because that all sounds familiar.
Yeah. I think it's been recreated like a bunch of times.
Yeah.
But like shields and armor like shuffling against each other.
Do you think AI is our current Trojan horse?
Well, if it is, it's not very well, I guess.
Because I feel like
Trojan horse
the argument right now is kind of like, oh well, it's gonna help out and solve diseases that we've never been able to solve before, and I don't know. I mean, I guess, yeah, maybe it's not doing a great job because it's pissing half the world off. I honestly don't know any. I know like one person who's super pumped about AI.
Who is it? Let's get him.
I'm not going to put him on blast. Josh.
Josh will be the only survivor.
Yeah, maybe. I've actually thought about hitting him up and being like, yo, what should I do for work now that I'm not going to be able to work in 2 years?
Is that your prospects?
What? Oh, yeah, I think that's everybody's prospect.
No, I'm important.
Yeah?
I know a lot about doors now.
Well, you might be okay with doors. Yeah. Mr. Slinger.
I'm think I'm going to be okay because my industry is like dead set on just remaining in their crappy ways. Like they don't want to like get better and use the new technology. They're just like, no, we're going to continue just doing everything manually.
Until the Department of Government Efficiency steps in.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't work for the government.
Oh, well then you're safe.
Yeah. Continue doing this.
Well, maybe you're good then. I don't know. I was talking to a buddy of mine who's also in the kind of like, I don't want to say he's in the entertainment industry, but he's a director, producer. He's kind of a jack of all trades in a sense with that line of work, does editing and all that. But I was talking to him just a couple of days ago about a project, and we were essentially just, it was actually for an AI company.
You told me this.
Yeah. And they wanted us to, like, I essentially was asked to like create some custom music for this company that provides hardware that makes it, I don't know the exact company, but they essentially like make stuff for AI to like work, essentially. And I'm like, I don't know how I morally feel about writing music for this, because it was like promoting that AI is like a good thing and it's going to like help. And maybe it is, I don't know, but it doesn't feel that way right now. But we were just talking about how we are essentially like the printing press when the internet came around. I mean, I'm writing music right now.
I feel like there were intermediate steps.
Right. There were, which I think we're in right now, but they're being condensed.
Yeah.
And it's just going way faster.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either.
Yeah. I think we should stop it.
And I was just listening to another thing today, some TED Talk about how it was a guy who does run some AI companies and how the majority of these like big companies are stealing work, copyrighted material to train their models.
Yeah.
And he was just basically talking about how that's not fair. It's kind of like unethical, and they're trying to like do it in like an ethical way where they get people to kind of essentially like sign over their rights to do it. And they can build in some type of like incentive model where, okay, well, you get every time yours gets trained on or something like that, like you get a percentage of whatever the amount is that we pay for, right?
So the Spotify model.
Right.
Spotify
Yeah,
model.
but it could be pennies.
Exactly.
Right.
That's why I referenced Spotify.
And this guy, Spotify. And this guy is basically like, well, the artists, it's not that they're worried about not getting paid little. They're worried about getting their material used without asking. And I'm like, it's both, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to say, yeah, it's cool to train on my stuff as long as I'm getting paid 10 cents or probably less than that every single time you train on it to literally like become a competitor and just ruin what I worked my entire life for.
It's not just ruining it for you, it's ruining it for
everybody
after you. Like everyone forever afterwards.
You're ruining the career.
There's some independent publishers. One of the biggest ones is called Drafted Digital, where you can like basically upload a manuscript and just like, it's like essentially you can create an ebook in, a matter of like 20 minutes. If you have like the art and, have it edited and all that stuff. And they sent out like an email survey to writers who use the program. And they said like, we've been, contacted by like AI platforms about like offering incentives for training off your work. Like, would you guys be interested? And it had all these questions, the questions like, do you agree, strongly disagree, blah, blah, blah.
Oh yeah.
And basically, to every question, everyone was like, fuck you, no. Like every question.
Yeah.
They're like, can we train you on your work for free? Fuck you, no. Could we train on your work if we paid you like a flat fee of like $5,000? There was no like line where people were like, well, man,
see,
maybe.
actually, I have a similar group of like music composers where that was posted.
Yeah.
Same similar type of questions, and the majority of them was "fuck you, no," like never. But there was a decent amount of them that were like, yeah, maybe if you like pay me like a flat fee, or it was substantially more that said no.
Yeah,
but
I mean that's the same in this case.
I was surprised to see any that was like, well, I want to be asked first, and then like maybe strike a deal or whatever. But I think the unfortunate thing is like music, especially. There's a lot of people who are already being fucked without AI, right? Like it's already hard to make it as an artist anywhere.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, there are going to be those like people who are kind of like new to the space that are just like chomping at the bit to get anything.
Yeah.
And they're just like, oh, I'll do it.
I would love to be a training model.
Yeah. This could be my big break. Yeah.
Well, in that case, at least the training model is going to be like created
trained on a lower. Yeah. They just want to train on. They put out these questionnaires or whatever to make you feel like you're getting a voice in it, but they're going to do it anyways. They're already doing it. It was like 65% of the training was done on, I mean, obviously we don't know.
Yeah.
Because they're not sharing it, but
you can tell.
Yeah.
Which reminds me of something that I meant to bring up that I forgot about because it's been like a week and, news moves at lightning speed these days. But the Ghibli stuff, you see that?
The what?
What is with you and made up words tonight?
Ghibli. It's Italian, adopted by the Japanese animation company.
Oh, yeah. So this guy is like, he's an animator, right? Or
All right.
He does like anime movies.
All right. Let's take it back a step, and you non-nerds.
It's definitely non-nerd, but I'm pretty sure that I've seen this dude, and he's like he was like early on bummed about AI, right? Like disgusted by it.
Okay. So the person you're talking about is Hayao Miyazaki.
Okay, go.
He's like 70. And he's considered like the Walt Disney of Japan, but not in an evil way, in like an animating way.
Okay.
So he's not as racist?
I don't know how he feels about Southeast Asian people.
Do we know that Disney was racist?
No. We only have hearsay.
Yeah. Hearsay. Daniel hearsay.
Okay. Objection, Your Honor.
Back to Mr. Miyazaki.
Yeah. So there's a famous clip from like a documentary like 10 years ago where he saw like rudimentary AI. And it was basically like they were trying to use AI for animation. This was before ChatGPT, obviously, before Midjourney. And it was like way worse than the Will Smith eating spaghetti, right? It was way worse than that. And he was like, this is abomination. He said literally like, the quote was like, this is like an affront to life.
I remember seeing that video though.
Really? And so Sam Altman, I mean, I don't know, like legitimately, like, and I have theories about this, about whether Sam Altman is like actually the head of like OpenAI or if he's just like the fall guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's obviously like a willing participant.
I mean, didn't him and Elon start it?
Yeah, but just because you start, I mean, look at the founder of Tesla, right?
You calling him the fall guy?
The founder of Tesla is like basically unknown.
Oh, that's true. You're right. I always forget about that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Huh.
And the founder of Solar City and the founder of Twitter.
So he bought like all of these and then just...
I mean, Jack Dorsey is still...
Yeah, he's still unknown.
I still know that guy's name.
He's rolling in his grave right now.
Jack's not dead.
He's not dead. Are you on a first name basis with
Hell
Jack?
yeah, Jack and I are like this.
Just go. What are you saying?
Jack
What's
and
about
Tom.
the Ghibli stuff?
So
Don't mess with Tom. Tom's my friend.
Tom is all of our friends.
We're talking about MySpace Tom?
MySpace Tom.
Rest his soul.
He's not dead.
I wonder what he's up to.
He's chilling on island.
He's got to be
Probably.
rolling in some type of grave somewhere.
Yeah, but only because he likes it.
Yeah.
So like ChatGPT or OpenAI released like this updated image generation. I think it's probably part of ChatGPT. I don't know. I don't pay attention to the image
I think
stuff.
it is because they've now released this, like you can create images and video within ChatGPT. I don't know about the free model, but
yeah, it's
definitely
probably
in the paid ones.
They did their like press release by like doing a Ghiblification. Ghibli is the name of the animation company owned by, run by, founded by whatever, Hayao Miyazaki, which is known for like it's like the Disney of Japan.
Yeah, it's a certain art style that.
It's very iconic style. It's very child friendly. Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, Castle in the Sky. Famous movies. Like there's a lot of people who haven't seen any anime but have seen those. You could convert any image to that style. And the internet was like for like a week, like just flooded with Ghiblified, right? Family photos, bosses, right? Whatever, like, you know, celebrities in the style of Ghibli, and then often reposted with a picture of Hayao Miyazaki during that clip where he's just like, you know, just face palming. Like, and people were saying like, this feels like an intentional attack on somebody who specifically didn't want.
Oh, of course. Yeah. But I wonder what the implications of that are too, right? Like, because they're literally using the name of his art style. And
there's no way they could have achieved that without training on his movies.
Oh, yeah.
Which are obviously copyrighted.
I mean, I guess they could have technically got some other artists to draw the styles that like weren't his. You know, yeah. I guess I don't know. I mean, I don't know how that works. I listened to another thing today that was talking about a similar thing where there was like some girl, an artist. I don't know if she was like a writer or a photographer or something, but she had a very like specific style. Mm-hmm. And then AI essentially like used her style for training, and then there was all of this shit like coming out that was like exactly like her work, and then her income dropped by like 30 or 40% like because of that.
And I assume she's suing and probably losing.
Probably. I don't know. The
OpenAI whistleblower, right? His whole thing, and we're talking
about the guy that mysteriously died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His whole thing was I think he resigned from his position there.
Oh, it's because of the copyright stuff, huh?
And he was like, or I think he was gone, but he had basically brought up like I think all this training has like implications on like intellectual property. I think we need to like at least have a serious conversation about it. Like he wrote like
he said he didn't even know much about like like copyright in general, and then he said once he started learning about it because they were doing it for the company or whatever, he felt that it was unethical to do the way that they were like doing the training.
And mysteriously shot himself in the back of the head.
Was it the back of the head?
It was like definitely suspicious circumstances. And I'm pretty sure they recently, so his mom has been going like real deep in the
I would too
investigation. You know, she hasn't like taken it sitting down.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they found like roofies in his system. Like he got drugged. So, I mean, you know, one theory is, he didn't want to be like fully conscious while he's committing suicide. You know, I guess that's like,
also though, if you roofie yourself, you're not going to be like capable of committing suicide, like physically, probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah, I don't know. Fucking crazy, man. I was telling a buddy today to where like he mentioned something. I don't know what it was that he said, but I'm like, I don't know. The older I get, the less I find myself being above believing in conspiracy theories. Like, obviously, there's a bunch of whack ass conspiracy theories out there that are just I don't believe in, or they're just fun to listen to or whatever. But there's some like dark, scary shit like what you're talking about, where I could be like, I could see that being a thing. They murdered this dude because it's like, I heard today that it's $1 billion a day or something like that being invested into AI right now.
I could use some of that.
It's crazy.
Sure.
It's a lot of fucking money.
If I change my name to AI, could I get some of that money?
What's that?
If I change my name to AI.
Yeah.
Just upload your consciousness to the AI bot, and we can replace Jeremy with Jeremy Bot.
Listeners, if you're ever given the option to upload your consciousness, whatever you do, don't do it, because that's how you end up in digital hell.
Unless they give you a percentage of every time that your consciousness is watched by somebody else.
There's no percent that's worth it.
Yeah, no, I've seen Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Which new episode comes out tomorrow, our new season.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Pretty pumped about that.
Which will be like 2 weeks ago for our listeners.
Yeah. So it will have come out a few days ago.
Have enjoyed.
Yeah. I was thinking about this today, actually. Like, are we entering a new age
of Black Mirror episodes? Yes, we are.
Yes. But like, we were in the Stone Age.
Ooh.
Somebody called this the plastic age, and it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Are we like the quantum age, right? Like we're going into quantum computers, we're going into AI.
Well, so far I'm still only in one place at a time, as far as I know.
Google's not, right? According to their whole fucking Willow chip. We may have commented on that on the show before, but apparently Google says that their quantum computer Willow is potentially communicating with other Willow computers from other dimensions, and that's how it's working so fast.
Sweet.
That's exactly what we need right now.
Why not?
Right now?
Hell yeah. A multiversal war? Let's do it.
Oh my God. We can't even do a...
It's just like The Fringe.
Yeah. Oh,
Is
great
that what that show's
show.
about?
Yeah, kind of, because like each reality was kind of eating each other because of.
Oh, we're spoiling
overlapping-
spoilers.
Spoilers
Sorry.
for The Fringe, which came out like 2009.
Yeah. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care how long ago it came out. Like maybe they didn't see it.
I already spoiled the Aeneid.
Yeah.
2,000 years old.
All this discussion's reminding me. I just finished reading Jurassic Park, the book.
Oh.
Which,
You are so late.
Hold on. That leads me to something else. Continue though.
but like reading that book made me really appreciate
Michael Crichton.
Michael Crichton and the Malcolm character and his view of science. I've always loved science, right?
Well, yeah.
But that book rips science apart, right? And like in the movie, you get the whole,
I've never read the book.
Yeah, we don't read here.
I forget. I'm going to butcher this. Is like, your scientists, thought or never asked themselves if they should or whatever. What's the line?
Yeah, it's
Is it something
So
along?
your
Is it something
scientists are
along the lines of like just because we should doesn't mean, or
Yeah.
just because we can doesn't
They
mean
were
we
so
should?
preoccupied with how that
Oh.
they didn't ask themselves why,
Why?
right? And then he talks
Yeah.
like he just goes into how science has enabled people to have power that they have not earned. And AI is a great example of that, right?
Yeah.
Because like if you want to be a great musician, that takes
Oh, yeah.
years and years of honing a skill. If you want to be a great carpenter or a great mechanic or whatever the skill is, like
Spreadsheet
Well,
operator.
that's like the argument that they use the AI argument where like, well, why can't AI train off of other artists? Because that's what artists do anyways, right? Like they learn from each other, they copy, they whatever. Okay. But also a thing I was listening to today, which I agree with, was saying that first of all, you want to develop a skill as a songwriter or a guitar player or whatever, sound mixer, you spend years fucking learning how to do that and getting good, whether or not you're modeling yourself after somebody, which usually, yeah, you are, but you're spending years doing it, right? So you're not immediately encroaching on that person's career.
yeah.
Two, you're in the process of doing that, you're contributing to that ecosystem, right? So like you go and you take lessons. Well, you're paying money to
Sure.
another artist who's learned those skills and you're learning from them, and you're spending money on the plugins or the, instruments that somebody built for
Yeah.
you to use. So it's like this whole circle that works together to where AIs just gobble everything up and then just fucking put everybody out of business.
Yeah. And like AI is never going to get any worse. It's never going to get old, right? It's never going to
It'll
have a
only get
stroke.
better.
And
No, and it's
no
never
longer
going to
hold-
sleep.
Yeah.
It's a direct competitor to like everybody that it's modeling itself after. It's fucking crazy.
And it can be used by weirdos to make creepy porn.
Oh my God.
Oh, geez.
Oh, I wanted to, yeah. So there's that scares me with like my kids and stuff, dude. I wanted to bring this up actually last time the last episode. So I've always been kind of like, I don't like having, a lot of stuff on social media, whatever. Just because there's like a lot of weirdos and shit
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
And I was,
Like, Aaron, you look so good today. Just sliding into your DMs.
somebody was trying to buy something from me online, and like right away they started just being a total fucking prick about the price that I had up there. And I'm like, this is something that is not easy to find.
It's
Like,
called
this is
haggling,
yeah.
Aaron.
Yeah. Also, yeah, you can haggle, but like they really lowballed me.
Give it to me for
You want $100? I'll give you 5.
That's essentially what it was. And then they kept asking me like, why won't you tell me how much you originally bought it for and this and that? I'm like, bro, I haven't even had a chance to like hardly respond to you, and you're just like getting me right away. And then all of a sudden a picture of my kid popped up in the chat, and I was like, what the fuck? And like all of a sudden I went into full on like
like, I'm going to kill
Liam
you
Neeson
mode.
mode. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm going to find where this fucker lives, and I'm going to, that's it. Like I was pissed.
So he's dead.
So I started like trying to see like, where did he get this picture from? I'm like looking at all my social media stuff. I'm like, this isn't even on my social media. Like, what the fuck? And then I realized that somehow my thumb accidentally hit a button on my phone and it sent from my phone up into the chat.
He's like, why'd you send me a photo?
Well, no, dude, I fucking reported him on Facebook or whatever, blocked him and like did all that shit. And I didn't sell him what I was trying to sell.
He probably did the same to you. He's like, this guy's trying to sell me something else right now.
What is this code for?
Yeah, it was like, you know how the iPhone makes a little like sticker, like if you hold your thumb down on a picture or something like that.
Okay, yeah.
And I don't know how
do you get
happened.
a sticker of my kid?
Yeah, I was like, dude, my body started getting all hot and tingly. I like jumped out of bed. I like fucking like went to like check all my doors and everything, and I was just like ready to just kill somebody. I'm like, you do not fucking do that. But
and you did it to yourself.
But I did it to myself. Yeah.
First of all, you need to work on your emotional regulation.
No,
normally I'm all right. But
That's a good dad response.
Yeah.
Sure.
You got to be ready to murder.
For my kids, yeah. But you know, with the advent of AI and all of that crazy shit, like of the weird scams where they can literally take your voice and model your voice, model your face, like anywhere online.
Yeah.
And they can take your kids. There was that whole thing where, you know, they take your kid's voice or whatever and do a phone call. And they're like, Mom, it's me. Somebody has me or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Nope.
Come on. I just was like, do we just disconnect from everything now? Do we just nuke everything that is digital at this point?
Go full Dune.
I mean, I don't
I don't know.
I don't see a reason to have your kids online. And I
You mean have like pictures of them online or just
pictures,
have them online?
videos, like whatever. Like, yeah, there's no reason for it. Like,
no.
The people you are close to, you can send them text messages, and the people who are not close enough to receive text messages are not going to care about your kids, except if you're like clout chasing, right? Like,
yeah, which is super common on social media.
So I had a chat with my boss the other day, and it ended up in like a non-work related chat, which was nice and rare. And he's like a sort of like self-made businessman. He has his own company that he started 10 years ago. And he's asked me in the past, like a year or so ago, like what I'm doing with my free time. And I told him, I write and I try to do art and I try to sell merches.
And you podcast?
And I podcast. I did tell him about the podcast.
You did or you didn't?
I did.
Oh, okay.
I didn't tell him the name because I'm not an idiot, but he's like somewhat keyed into like the LA scene. Like he's into that. He's into like knowing people. He's that kind of person. And he's, fairly social. So he actually can know those people. And he was like, look, I know like a handful of like successful artists and it's hard, but like you got to stop focus on trying to write books and you got to write your own story. He said, basically, nobody's going to care about whatever you create until they care about you. That's like a very unfortunate and probably correct take.
I don't think that that's fully true, but I do think that that is like a fast track to like getting your stuff out there, right? Like you look at podcasts. A lot of the podcasts that like get big really quickly is because they're celebrities, right? Like with the armchair experts, and Joe Rogan was already, famous from his shows. And there's a lot of, it's obviously easier to get your stuff out there if you have a platform to do it from, but you got to start somewhere.
It was interesting. And he got me thinking, like, should I pursue like a public persona, which is kind of funny because I spent...
No, you should not.
No. I spent basically 10 years trying to like make creative stuff anonymously, like essentially anonymously.
Yeah.
Well, there's like, it doesn't have to be a personal public persona, right? Like it could just be a brand. That's the branding aspect of it.
But no, I think it does because okay, I'm not going to say I tried it and it didn't work, so it doesn't work. But I do think the most successful ones, like you gotta see the face, you gotta see the name, you gotta get a little bit of the dirty details of their lives before you care.
I didn't know what Dr. Seuss looked like until like literally the beginning of this week.
He looks like an old white dude.
Yeah, well, I literally didn't know. I saw a picture of him in a book I was reading to my kid the other day, and I was like, that's what fucking Dr. Seuss looks like? I've never known.
He's a real doctor.
He is in my book, in my Dr. Seuss book.
I feel like I have to disagree a little bit with this whole like the artist needs to be known for the art to be. I mean, again, fast track.
Banksy?
Yeah. I think there are exceptions, but
I don't know for sure.
yeah.
But I have a lot of like experiences where I'm like, wow, that's a cool piece of art, or that's a cool piece of music that I don't know who these people are.
Look, realistically, there is no one path to getting somewhere.
No,
I think
true.
for certain people, there's going to be paths that are easier for them than there are for others. I'm in the camp that I don't think it's either you have to have a personal persona that gets popular, or if your art is good enough, people are going to notice it. I especially don't believe in that one. I am in the camp that thinks if you know the right people, then it's going to be easier for you to, whether it's art or it's just getting a job or it's finding a wife. I mean, we've talked about this before. Like, I really do think people and friends and even acquaintances are like the most valuable currency that you could have in your life.
You need to buy more acquaintances.
Go to the acquaintance store.
Yeah.
You know? Don't.
I can't afford any more friends.
They have them on Amazon now, I think.
Tamagotchi.
Tamagotchi. Wait. Well, did you have more on that?
Nope.
No. Okay. I want to take a step back to the Jurassic Park thing.
Okay.
Did you guys see that they brought the fucking dire wolf back from extinction?
There are haters telling
that it's not actually bringing it back. What is it?
I didn't realize that the dire wolf was an actual
I didn't either.
animal outside of
video games and books.
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones
yeah.
lore. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely pre-Game of Thrones.
It's just a bigger wolf, right?
It's dire.
Right. Well, you find yourself in a dire situation if you see one. Is what it is. I think they're supposed to be like.
I'm glad we can see Daniel rolling his eyes now.
Sure. Yeah.
They're supposed to be substantially bigger than like the gray wolf or something. I don't know. They look pretty fucking cute on the videos that I saw. The little pups just like howling away.
Yeah, sure. Keep them on the other side. After just finishing Jurassic Park, I don't want anything to do with that kind of crap, man.
But so to your logic, you're saying people are saying they're not dire wolves back from extinction, right? Because they're spliced with DNA from gray wolves.
Yeah.
Does that mean the dinosaurs from Jurassic Park are not dinosaurs because they're spliced with DNA from frogs?
Yes. It explores that pretty deeply in the book. Yeah, it's not.
They're frogosaurs.
They're fake creations. They are tailored to be what we think dinosaurs should be.
If
in
you
some situations.
It says that in the book?
It gets into that, but then it goes into the whole, because they start to mate, they become like a new species all on their own, because like, so they had like a normal distribution and blah, 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 blah. Anyways. Yeah,
is that the sound they make when they're mating?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
I have to recommend that book. I mean, it's different enough from the movie plot wise that you're like, oh, I don't really know what's going to happen next. Although you know kind of the overarching.
Somebody's getting eaten.
Right.
There are characters that
don't
never
exist.
mind. No
exist.
Spoilers. Go read the book.
Okay.
But I really do like Malcolm's spiels, and he's got a couple of them in the book where like he just goes on a cool little rant. And like the part that really didn't touch on earlier is the fact that, you know, because, you know, science makes things easier, people take them up and they haven't gone through that experience, that honing process that teaches them not only the skill, but the balance of your responsibility. Like, you know, great power comes with great responsibility kind of stuff, right?
They haven't fucked up with low stakes yet.
Yeah, they haven't cut their teeth.
What does that even mean? That phrase, cut your teeth.
You should know. You're the writer.
I would hate if someone cut my teeth.
That's a good question. That is a real good point.
Does it just mean like you're getting your bites getting sharp? I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, Aaron totally called me out last podcast for nip it in the butt, which is what I had been saying my entire life.
I think everybody's gone through the nip it in the butt phase, right? Like, it's nip it in the bud, people. If you guys don't know, it's nip it in the bud.
And it's referring
to
about
flowers.
Bud John. Oh, yeah.
by Johnson. Well, okay. I guess then, so we don't actually have dire wolves here then, huh?
We could.
Well, my question is like, what does that mean for the ecosystem? Regardless, we're bringing things back from extinction.
Did they just let them out?
Well, so I was talking to my wife about it, and she's like kind of pissed about it, and we didn't really get into like why, but she's just kind of like, well, what does that mean? They're just gonna fucking keep them in a cage? Like you just start creating these creatures and then throw them in a fucking lab and then study them for their whole lives? And we didn't really get into that, but I'm like, well, that's kind of what we do now with animals.
Wait till she hears about zoos.
Well, that's what I said, a zoo. We don't really like zoos other than like the San Diego Wildlife Park, because it's like Jurassic Park with real animals.
Yeah, I've been there. It's cool.
Yeah, they're like roaming.
What period are we in now?
The plastic period. I thought we already covered this.
We're in the plastic park.
The plastic park. Well, he says plastic. I said quantum.
You know
Quantum
what?
Park.
One day we may be, or not we, will be dead, but humans could be the zoo.
Westworld. What if they do? What if I've thought about that?
That's why I'm not uploading my consciousness.
But what if it's not that? Like, what if you fucking spit on a rock somewhere and then they get your DNA and they're like, oh, well, let's bring this guy back to life.
That won't be me. That'll be a copy of me. It won't matter.
Let's bring Homo lamus back and.
Homo lamus.
That is the meanest thing anyone's ever said to me. Create your own species of insults.
No, I mean, like, could you imagine, right? Like, you die. And then all of a sudden you fucking wake up and it's like...
That's not me.
3021 or something like that.
In the year 3535.
What's
in the
that?
year 3000. That is the plot of I Am Bob. It's a great book
I think
series.
we have to have a contract item that says he's not allowed to see.
I kind of like it. I think it adds character.
It's a
Character
I have
hit.
Tourette's. Or sorry, I don't have Tourette's. Apologies to anybody who's listening who actually suffers from that disease. But I'm just gonna throw it out there that sometimes
Apology canceled.
my subconscious takes over and I have to sing a jingle, or like I'm driving down the highway and I have to read out every fucking sign I see. I don't know what's wrong
It's
with
like
me.
an OCD
Just keeping
thing.
you sane.
I guess.
Just keeping you sane.
My-
Sometimes
my-
you just got to sing.
My daughter gives me crap about it. She's like, why is it that you have to sing every time I say something?
I feel like it becomes more of a dad thing. Like once you're a dad, you just start randomly singing and shit. I'll do it to piss my kids off on purpose.
Yeah.
I'll be like, you're going to be a dick? All right, I'll sing.
Yeah.
Stop being a dick.
Well, you're a professional, so you're probably
Not
really
anymore.
good at pissing them off.
Not anymore.
My kid actually likes my singing, so
Oh, well.
She used to.
She hasn't heard anybody else sing, huh?
Your daughter's a little younger than mine, my friend. Give
Yeah.
it time.
Yeah.
that's true. She's probably got like 6 months left before she's like, this is crap.
Dude, my daughter spent probably like 12 hours this week assembling the tiniest little Japanese model house thing. It's just like tiny little pieces of wood and a hot glue gun and like cutting fabrics and stuffing cloth in them.
Did she do a great job?
She did a pretty damn good job. I'm pretty impressed. I didn't think she was going to complete it. And
Well,
I
good
bet
thing
her,
she's practicing because that's all we're going to be good for anymore in the next couple of years.
right? It's physical labor.
Assembling tiny
Gadgets and
crafts.
gadgets and wooza hits or whatever.
It's gadgets, widgets, and wadgets.
Yeah, so going back
That's
to
the
the
title of
original
this
topic
episode.
of this title of this episode, coming from a manufacturing background,
Are you
that
more
is
of a
the
widgets guy
dumbest
or a
comment I've ever heard out of the guy.
wadgets guy?
In
All
in
of the
way?
above.
What do you mean?
I mean, we need to make everything.
No, we're America. We don't need to make those shitty girly man circuitries. We need to make big things like sinks.
I didn't hear him say this, so like I don't have any reference to.
Listeners, go and listen to the widgets and wadgets speech because
Yeah.
it's gold. It's
So-
comedy gold.
We might trail into like a lot of speculation here and shit that we don't know enough to talk about. So take everything
That's-
with a grain
that's
of
our
salt.
bread and
That's
butter.
our bread and butter.
Yep.
Yeah.
What do you guys feel like the right answer is to world trade? Like, should we have the ability to go to the
Do
lowest cost solution and get something made? Do you feel like
We've gotten into this weird. I feel like it was okay until Amazon came around. To be honest,
Well, okay for who?
I think it was still on the decline way before Amazon?
you think so?
I mean, sorry, I say it's on a decline because it's a decline for those in America because manufacturing has gone to lower cost areas, right? I mean,
Yeah.
When do you think we started to like substantially go out and subcontract out to like other countries?
I would say at least 50 years ago.
And what was the cause of that?
Cheap labor.
It started to become cheaper to transport goods and communicate and to have a global economy versus a localized country-based.
Isn't
economy.
that wild? It's less expensive to have shit fucking shipped over.
Yeah.
I was all right. I was a little stoned the other night, but I got a shipment of like these what are those little clip things called?
Carabiners?
Carabiners, right? It was a 6-pack of carabiners
Hey,
and these little
What do you want
black
6 carabiners for?
these little black. I needed it for a baseball banner. Doesn't matter, right? It cost me like $7.99 to get 6 carabiners and 6 freaking key rings that I didn't even know I was going to get. And I'm looking at this packaging and I'm going, how the fuck is it possible that I can get these 6 pieces, which require multiple forming methods, different materials, like going through the bill of materials
It's like costs
in my
more in
head.
gas.
Like the anodizing they went through, like it got to my door and I can't get a cheeseburger for that much.
Well, that's because there's a factory somewhere with a machine whose only goal in life is to make it as many carabiners as possible.
Sure. But
Well, that's actually interesting that you say that because, all right, we're in the middle of this fucking basically trade war that's going on now.
yeah.
You're saying there's a machine that makes as many carabiners as possible out there, right?
Realistically, there's probably like 3 machines at least.
Okay. Well, what happens when they start releasing a bunch of fucking bipedal robots that are all of a sudden doing everything that, you know, like all the
Please
physical work?
insert carabiner.
Bender. Yeah, I mean, robots isn't. Let's stay on topic here. Let's focus for a second.
Let's focus on the supply chain, goddammit.
But that is a thing though. Like that's what they're trying to do.
You think they're going to introduce bipedal robots to make carabiners?
It won't be carabiners, but what I'm saying is like doing the manual labor that people are doing now, like the little bit that we are doing here. And how do we, robots aside, like how do we, once we've lived in this world where we're paying fucking $6 or less for these carabiners or whatever you're buying, like you can buy shit for dirt cheap. How do you get back to the point where you're actually paying people for their labor for stuff that's like, you know, I mean, not everything in China coming from China sucks anymore, right? Like it used to be.
Some of it is moderately okay.
Some of it's not bad. I have a fucking cello sitting over there that I bought from eBay that came from China, and it's not a bad cello.
China's getting into aerospace. They're starting to make airplanes, and they're going to be probably the manufacturing center of airplanes soon.
Well, considering that Boeing has been,
but that's what I'm saying,
inside.
right? Like why we're at this weird point now where you get shit dirt cheap. Not all of it's good, but you can find good stuff. And then here in the United States, we have people that are charging, 50 times more for crappier stuff.
We have a national minimum wage, right?
Yeah.
We've gone through a process of, hey, it's not okay to, keep people. We've evolved as a society to create this minimum wage, right?
Yeah.
Other nations are a little bit behind us in that such.
Yeah.
Are they behind us or are they bad? I mean, it's a tricky situation, and it's the biggest issue when it comes to a global trade economy is that, some countries require you to pay labor a heck of a lot more than other countries.
Do you think the Trump administration is correct in just completely obliterating everything the way it is right now to reset us and force us to where we have to?
You could have stopped with the word correct, and the answer would have been no.
Yeah. Just the fact that today he comes out and is like, all right, we're going to put a 90-day hiatus on everything except for China. We're cranking out. Like, it's so flippy floppy.
Well, that's the thing that's crazy.
I hate flippy floppy.
Yeah.
And the other thing too, right? The whole argument for tariffs, right? The whole argument for like trade restrictions is if you want to reshore, you have to protect your local businesses, right? Problem is, our president changes every 4 years. It takes longer than that for the effective protectionism to take effect. So you would have to have either no term limits or a consistent like base of the population who supports it.
What's your opinion on no term limits?
I think it's a terrible idea.
So we used to not have term limits, right?
Right. And they used them to, it was Roosevelt. Roosevelt was too beloved and he got elected like 3 times. And like, this is too many times. We're getting a king. And even though he was like super popular, they instituted term limits to get rid of him.
Is it undemocratic to have term limits?
I don't think it's undemocratic either way, but I do like, I'm uncomfortable with
term limits starting in this particular season.
Yeah. But even so people
stopping.
have been hypothesizing about this recently on Breaking Points, right? Mm-hmm. On the news show we listen to sometimes. And they were saying like Obama, it would be Obama versus Trump. If we got rid of term limits right now, that would be the lineup. It would be third term. And personally, I don't want either of them to be third term president.
I like the term limits. I think term limits should be implemented for our Congress and our Senate as well.
That's the problem is we don't have it there and we should have it there, right?
Because I feel like if that was the case, right, there's a lot of benefits to that, right? Senators and congressmen would stop just constantly fundraising and like be a little bit less susceptible maybe to lobbyists. But I think it would force us to be a little bit more quick in our decision making. But
what Jeremy's saying though is the policies take longer time to actually go through regardless of the decision making, right? Like
yeah.
And the legality of it actually being implemented goes beyond the scope of what the term limits are, especially if they're elected for one term.
And that's the advantage of the China model where they have a dictatorship essentially.
We're not promoting China here, folks. We're just
but it is like it is so
there's pros and cons.
I think China is a worse place to live because of just like human freedoms. But like from a strategic like country versus country point of view, they do have some advantages. They have some disadvantages too, right? Like the advantage is they can have like Xi, when he's 45, can come up with his like master plan, stay president until he's 70 and like see that plan executed, right? Or prime minister, whatever he is, king.
Has he been around that long?
I don't know. I don't know his actual tenure. But disadvantage is Xi becomes paranoid, afraid of backstabbers, purges his administration of anyone with opinions, and refuses to get any news from anyone and makes all decisions from the top down. And basically you have like a mad king scenario.
But then that's when you get rid of him.
How? He's purged everyone.
Yeah, that's true. I guess if you have a hybrid of the two, right?
Yeah. Speaking of China and dictators and leaders, this brings me to, did you guys know about the Trump pin?
The what?
The Trump pin.
The Trump pin.
Yeah.
I have not heard about the Trump pin.
Apparently this is a classic dictator / authoritarian playbook. They make a symbol of themselves and they have their loyal people wear it. Trump has recently produced a golden pin of his golden head, which members of Congress are wearing on their lapels.
Oh, jeez.
And
I mean, is
the hat not that?
Yeah, the
hat is the everyman's golden Trump head.
Okay,
sure.
But this is like a legitimate like symbol of like fealty to Trump. It's his head, his actual head.
It's on theme for Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Golden Trump head.
I want to say, is that twisted by the left media, in a way, and you're presenting it that way? Or is that, I don't really know how that's going to be twisted.
They did show, I mean, it wasn't the left media, it was a left Substacker, but he did have a close-up of the Trump pin next to a close-up of the Mao pin.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
And there were, so they're no longer comparing Trump to Hitler.
Progress.
I have not corroborated this anywhere other than the place it was posted, but supposedly a member of Congress like directly quoted Joseph Goebbels.
Yeah, I heard about that. That the state has the right to control the thoughts, or not the thoughts, but the what you call it.
No, I can't remember it word for word either. But basically control the thoughts of the population.
Yeah.
I'm going to sound like a dummy here, but I don't know who Joseph Goebbels is.
Neither did I until I read the article.
Oh, really? Well, you've probably seen him in Inglourious Bastards.
It's just Are they modeling him after a Nazi?
No, Joseph Goebbels
actually in
was he was a very high-ranking Nazi. He was the head of the propaganda machine.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember Inglourious Basterds. There was a filmmaker in that movie, right? And there's the beautiful blonde woman who works for the Nazis. The filmmaker guy with the round glasses, that's Goebbels.
It's been a little bit since I've seen that movie.
He was like a very intellectual propagandist filmmaker.
Okay.
And he was responsible for basically like arguably like brainwashing a lot of the German population.
I'm very curious, and I've said this before, but like I am really curious of like the level that we are being propagandized, and where it's coming from.
Substack. you were propagandized by the platform of your choice.
Yeah, I mean, is it all platforms?
It is creepy when they show like the newscasters reading the same script.
Yeah,
and it's like 30 different
exactly
screens.
The same. Yeah.
They've been doing that for like 30 years.
It's the same network basically, right? And it makes sense that they're trying to spread one message, but yeah, when you see it all side by side, it's creepy.
Yeah. I remember like the first time I saw that, they were talking about our new email overlords, and that specifically was repeated so many times. It was just funny.
But that's where I keep being like, am I under like the influence of propaganda?
Yes.
And in what sense? Like, because there's got to be propaganda on both sides in our case, right?
Yeah.
So like we have the left and the right.
But you self-select, right?
Right.
You self-select the propaganda that most aligns with your worldview.
Do you self-select, or is it being pushed on you depending on like where you are located? Right. So for example, your phone now currently knows who you're around. Like it's weird. I've been getting like Facebook friend suggestions from neighbors that I don't have any mutual friends with.
Interesting.
Just walking my dog, said hi to the dude, and then now all of a sudden
it's just, I mean, that's just like simple geolocation, right?
Right. But could it be doing that too? Like, well, it's more likely he's surrounded by people on the right. So let's push this, right propaganda towards him because it's going to be easier to brainwash him in that, degree.
Maybe. Yeah. I feel like we're still at the stage, at least in the US, where you are able to choose essentially what you see, right? I choose the YouTube videos I watch. Right. I have premium so I don't get ads.
But do you actually choose them? Or do they choose
the algorithm does suggest a lot of them to me, but I click.
Like how much of the internet are you actually missing because because a certain type of media is being pushed on you?
60% of the internet is porn. So.
Is it really 60%?
Oh, it's like more than that.
Is it really?
Yeah.
No, there's
God,
no.
I gotta catch up.
It's a crazy amount.
I find that hard to believe. I mean,
only 1% is cat videos.
I find that also. I made that.
I feel like cat videos kind of came and went.
Yeah,
that was early YouTube. Now it's all just freaking Instagram models, just like
all the stupid dancing, or like the weird. I'll get the like occasional like random violence video of like people committing random acts of violence, and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
One of the times,
get this off of here. I don't want to watch this. I didn't even click on it.
One of the times I deleted Reddit, which I have fully done now, like years ago. But like I was just like watching, I was like scrolling the homepage, and I come upon a video of like a guy like murdering his neighbors over like a parking space.
What the fuck?
Yeah. It was like a home security camera, like from like the second floor, and it was, it was like nighttime. So it was like infrared, but yeah.
I feel like I've heard about this particular thing.
Maybe I've talked about it because it was real traumatizing. It was like a husband and wife come home.
Why is that shit even allowed on the internet?
Like I can't remember the exact scenario, but like, anyway, a guy kills like his husband and wife neighbor.
I don't know if that counts as free speech.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's better to
free
have.
Speech absolutist.
I don't know if the violence. I don't know if violence counts.
Look at man, it's a slippery slope. But
so the thing is,
I'm pretty sure you can't say like I'm going to kill you, right? Because that's
a direct threat is a specific thing that's not protected. But the problem when you start making exceptions is then you get in you find yourself in the situation of arguing whether or not something is one of those exceptions, right? There was a great point that somebody made about the recent like deportations and people getting locked up in like Guantanamo. And they were like the problem with supporting a law where they can lock up like a certain group of people, like God, the metaphor they used was so good. It was like the problem of agreeing to a law to lock up flamingos, but only flamingos, is good luck arguing you're not a flamingo.
Well, they're locking people up judged like basically because they have tattoos.
Yeah.
Right? Like I heard there was one dude that literally had a tattoo with like a crown on it, and they're like, oh, he's a member of this gang or whatever. I don't know. That's a weird thing too, because I don't want to be a sympathizer to like hardcore gang members either. So I don't
I do not support gangs or jails.
I do not support people.
I saw a thing the other day where like truckers going through truck stops were getting like English tests. And if they were failing the English test, like they couldn't read or write, they get fined. And if they couldn't pay the fine immediately on the spot, they were being arrested.
That's wild, because didn't he just make English like
the official language
of the United States?
Good luck.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Because
we are a country of immigrants.
I, for one, support everyone's right to speak German.
German? But I think the most the common language here is Mandarin.
Is it really?
Yeah, I think it is. And well, at least in California.
I would have put money on
maybe that's just the world in general.
Maybe it's the
that
world
would
in
make
general
more sense
because they have the greatest population.
I feel like in California it's probably Spanish.
I feel like it's probably English in the United States. I feel like most people do speak English, but there's definitely a large percentage that don't.
So
yeah. I mean, I've come across a substantial amount of people who can't speak English.
Sure.
Only Spanish, especially in California.
So, for writing purposes, every once in a while you find yourself looking up baby names, right? And I remember at one point I was looking up like popular baby names in the UK. And for like the past 10 years, the most popular baby names in the UK have been like Mohammed and Abdul.
Really?
Yeah, because there's so many immigrants from the Middle East.
Huh.
Wow.
Or like not necessarily just the Middle East, probably like Africa, but yeah, like Islamic peoples.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I don't want to get in the whole fucking like
religious war thing.
Yeah, I just it's weird because I don't want to be one of those like social media people that are bashing white people for fucking everybody. It's like, okay, yeah, we know that's been a thing in history, but not promoting it, not whatever. It's just like, fuck, man, we're in a weird like. Can't we all just get along?
Right? Can't we all just fucking love one another?
Yeah.
We could go back to polytheism.
Go ahead and explain that one to me.
I was like, wait, I know what polytheism is, but in my mind is having
Don't stare at the camera. All right. Don't do the third wall break. All right. Don't do that.
I gotta do a gym. I gotta get a gym sign. Just hold it up. That means multiple gods. So we're talking about the Greeks, the Norse, right?
Yeah.
Hail Odin.
So don't we already have that?
No, I mean, not really here.
I mean,
even
there's
still,
a temple right
if the god's name is God, then it's not polytheism.
They still battled over gods back then as well, though, right?
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm saying. The closest like church here is a temple. It's like
It's not a.
There's like a Asian temple of it. I don't know
Norse
what
temple.
No, not a Norse temple.
We should open up a Norse temple.
Dude, let's do it. Yeah, I have no idea.
We could model it after like a log cabin.
I have a buddy whose middle name is Thor.
That's really cool. Also, or potentially lame.
My kid's name is Icelandic. I'm not going to say it on here, but it is.
Yeah, it's Iceland.
Yeah, well, it's close enough.
No, I mean, his name is Iceland.
Oh.
Or we could go Greek. Do you realize, I did not realize this for the longest time, when people say by Jove, how like British people used to say that in like old movies?
Jove.
By Jove.
I think that's like old school.
Yeah. Jove is just the Roman name for Zeus.
No shit.
Yeah. So
Dude, I miss all the Greek mythology stuff. Like,
Yeah,
They
they
need
had
it.
cool stuff,
Huh?
man.
They need
Everything-
I am looking for another book, so I probably will pick one of those up.
You read the Odyssey, and we'll
All right.
compare notes.
Okay.
Is it just
I will
me?
listen to the Odyssey because I don't read.
I feel like everything used to be way more elegant.
Elegante.
Like the storytelling, the architect. Like I'm thinking of like Greek mythology right now. Like,
Mm.
you know, picturing everything in it. Even like the characters. Like everything was just so much more grand and elegant back then.
It's funny. So I have currently trained my Substack algorithm to show me like mostly art because that's what I've been liking.
Is it a banana taped to a wall?
No, I don't like that art. I dislike that art. Dislike.
That's
There's
what I'm
no
saying.
There's no dislike button. So this is one thing I like about Substack that I didn't ever find on Instagram. Like on Instagram, everybody was clout chasing, right? Everybody was self promoting, but there are like random accounts on Substack who, as far as I can tell, all they do is just post cool old art.
Old art. It's not even there. They have to fucking rehash it. What are they, Marvel?
No, much older.
This is what I'm saying though. It's like,
No, but it's cool because it's like without going to a museum, it's stuff that you're not going to get exposed to. Somebody posted like these 6 paintings by this guy who has probably been dead for like 70, 100 years. I don't know. I didn't look him
Wow.
up.
It's a long time.
And copyright maybe. And they were so good. Like it was like all fantasy art, but like it was like, you know, Renaissance master style painting of like fairies, of like a mermaid, of like a, you know, like a mysterious castle, like that kind of thing.
I bet AI modeled like after that fucking artwork.
Those fuckers. It really makes you think because there's such a quantity of amazing art out there that you're just not even aware of because it was done by someone who's been dead for 100 years.
Yeah.
That's a crazy thing too, though, is it's like now, well, you throw AI on top of it, but even with AI out of the picture,
Mm-hmm.
there's just so much shit out there.
And so I think about this more and more recently as someone who's like pursued art for a long time. I think like the course of human history, the percent of like artists who are better than I will ever be is probably like 80%, right?
Well, that's subjective.
I mean, but you know, what I'm saying is like, I'm not even like in the top 10th percentile of like great artists in history. And so that could lead you to the opinion of like, well, what's the fucking point? Music is kind of different because music evolves, but art, it has some limitations to form, I think. Right? Like,
how does music evolve more
so,
than
okay.
you're talking about visual art?
There's a great example that I learned about in my my forced elective on musical history. Straczynski, you know who he is? Or is it Stravinsky?
You're talking about the classical artist?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So he did a composition. I believe it's The Rite of Spring, and it was discordant, right?
I don't even know what that means. As a
So
musician,
so it was like anti-harmonic.
I'm a bad musician though.
It was like anti-harmonic, right? It sound like, if you've never heard it before, it sounds kind of weird. It has like, so, you know, I mean, you're not like Jacob Collier or anything, but you know, like musical theory, right? You obviously you work as a musician.
Yeah.
I assume you know like basic musical theory,
Yeah.
like harmony, and
You're
like,
talking about like dissonant music. Like,
dissonant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So nobody had really made like a dissonant, like orchestral score before, right? This was like the 1800s. So he wrote this.
That's all Hans Zimmer does these days.
See?
Yeah.
This is exactly my point. So nobody had written something like this before. And so he wrote and performed with an orchestra, like this piece of music. It was like 20, 30 minutes long, I think. And people literally fled.
Really?
They were running out of the concert hall with like their head in their hands. Like they thought he was like possessed by demons. Like it was crazy.
Interesting.
But so like all of this, like the history of music is sort of built into modern music, right? Like it's got the DNA of Bach and Beethoven and, you know, tribal drums and like throat singing and all that stuff is like incorporated into modern music, and it creates like the Justin Bieber stuff where you got the weird like squeaky voice, like that stuff is like so iconically like 2016, and it didn't. I don't think it really existed before that, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I know what you're talking about, like the kind of like sampled vocal where they turn it into an instrument. Not gonna lie, I do. I think Justin Bieber's a talented guy. I really do.
Yeah, I'm not shitting on him. What I'm saying is like this like evolution of music is happening in real time, and you can track.
Are you not? I mean, I feel like you're getting the same thing out of visual media.
Stylistically, there's definitely things that like, Into the Spider-Verse is like a great example. Like that, nothing like that has really ever existed. But
I mean, if you think about it in like the musical sense, it's kind of more like it's all kind of using the same somewhat formulas, that kind of like the same, you're slightly changing up the ingredients, right? Like you're saying, okay, well, they're basically using this, they're making a cake still, but they found this like nutmeg over here and they're just going to sprinkle that on the top of it, right? Like it's still the same kind of things and they're just mixing them around in different ways with music. And I feel like the artwork, the medium is just like a different thing. Like instead of using paper, now I'm using, I don't know, a rug or something.
Right. But if
you're onto something,
if you took like a lot of art today is digital, right? And what I'm saying is like, if you took the digital art and printed it on a piece of paper, because the medium ultimately is like, that's not really the point. It's what you created with it. Like if you printed it on a piece of paper, it would look quite similar to some of the stuff that like came before. And like I was just looking at this guy's paintings from 100 years ago, whatever. And the amount of time and attention and like energy and effort that he put into these like single images. Or like, have you ever been to a museum where they had like oil paintings of like the Civil War and they've got like 170 soldiers just lined up on a battlefield, each painted in like painstaking detail?
That's what I think modern culture is missing, is like putting time into things. That's everything. Even music, like maybe some people spend like a fucking year writing a song or whatever. But yeah, I feel like especially like modern art, right? I feel like I noticed that a lot in like like architecture used to be way cooler.
Mm-hmm.
Sculptures used to be way cooler. Now I saw somebody post something somewhere and it was a picture of like a downspout, like a rain spout.
Mm-hmm.
And it was this really beautiful looking, like,
was it a fish?
Twisted spout, and it came down as like a dragon or a fish or something like that. I don't know what it was. And it was just like very intricate. And they're like, imagine living in a world where even the downspouts like were fucking awesome, And now ours are just these flat pieces of flubby fucking
extruded aluminum.
Exactly.
I spent 10 hours today working on my downspout. Take my hammer and chisel home to my hut.
Maybe people just had less to do back then, right? Like you had less to do.
And less distracted.
No
smartphones.
That's one thing I'm kind of like, if everything just goes to shit, and
at least I can work on my downspouts.
Well, yeah, I'm wondering if like people just have more time to just be.
I was talking to my boss about what I was working on. I mentioned something about Japan. He's like, man, I'd love to go to Japan. Like, I just love that country so much. I was like, yeah, I'd be back there if like my mom wasn't here. He's like, why? He's like, you can't like build anything over there. I was like, yeah, but I could like check out, right? Like I could afford like to live in a house in the countryside. And he's like, nah, that's terrible. This is America. This is the only place you can come to build stuff. It's kind of funny because he's an immigrant technically. Like he came here when he was like 4, right? His parents came like fleeing Armenia and then through Iran. And so his dad built his own company in like the 70s making like ironworks and like basically, took care of their family in LA and they've like carried on that like entrepreneurial tradition. It's interesting. I feel like, I don't know. The idea of just like checking out, having time for like reflection, making downspouts.
This fucking guy, he I see him just like romanticizing about checking out and being in nature and all these things.
Like 3 weeks into it.
I fucking asked him to go camping with me and he doesn't respond to my text message.
Because he's checked out. He's not paying attention to his phone.
I brought it up to him today when we first got here and he's just like, oh yeah, I don't know, it seems like a lot.
Look, if I was single,
you could tell you'd be single for the weekend.
be single for longer than that.
I think she'd let you go camping.
Maybe. It just feels weird. I feel guilty. I have self-guilt.
Take your daughter with you. My kids will be there.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Dude, my kids love camping. Take them.
Yeah.
If you need a tent, I can give you a tent.
Teach her how to check out.
Inflatable mattress.
There you go.
Oh my God, this sounds worse and worse every minute. I'm gonna be like, my wife's gonna stay at home.
I don't understand what you want out of life, right? Like you talk
I want
about
a comfortable house with a garden, not a fucking mountain with trees.
How are you going to feed yourself?
My American money.
He did say a garden. He'll grow some tomatoes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's a plan. Get a moderately okay paying job.
You're there.
Remotely.
I'm there.
Live in a country where the currency you are being paid in is worth far less or far more than the currency you are living on.
Where's that?
Technically,
pretty much anywhere.
Technically, I'm there. I just have to hold on to my money for a couple more years.
Stay in a tent.
What are you going?
I'm assuming we're going to hit a moment of hyperinflation in the next 5 to 10 years.
5 to 10 days.
Break that down for me. What's going to happen?
Well, oh man, I've already had a 32 ounce. All right.
That's 24.
Is it?
oh, it turns out I'm fine.
Oh, I'm fine. Yeah. I don't know. Let's just leave it at that. I don't know.
All right. I'll explain it.
Yeah, go ahead.
The price of eggs is now $10, but your salary is the same. When you go to the grocery store, you have to carry your money in buckets.
Yeah.
You need 16.
You can't afford a bucket.
16 credit cards. You stole them.
Okay.
From Home Depot, which is on fire.
Actually, sometimes they give buckets away for free.
Not anymore.
Not
during hyperinflation.
Probably not anymore. Yeah.
Are we talking Weimar Republic?
No. No, I'm not. I'm just talking about economic recessions, depressions, money printing to fill boomers going out of their.
Why don't we buy a money printer?
Oh, yeah. That's a crime. It's investigated by the Secret Service.
Only if they catch you.
Only the government can do that, man.
Only if they catch you.
What if we were the government? Can we secede?
No. Dude, I saw a long time ago there was one dude who like didn't want to be a part of society, so he never got a driver's license. He never like registered anything. He was just like, I don't want to be, I do not opt in.
They called him the ghost.
Reacher.
And he was fishing or something one time.
Oh, he didn't have a fishing license.
He didn't have a fishing license and then got in trouble and they made him go to court. And then
he didn't have a human license.
Yeah. And then it was like this whole thing where they're like, well, how did you get here? And he's like, well,
they deported him to Venezuela, didn't they?
No, they're like, how did you get to the courtroom? Oh. And because he was like, I don't use anything from you guys. Like I don't have any social security. I don't do anything. He lives in I don't know where he got
his shoes are made of leaves.
He lives in a van down by the river.
Basically, I think that's what it was. Like he had like a tent or something like that. I don't know, but he wasn't like, I wouldn't have considered him like a homeless person, right? Like he was like a mix between a homeless person and like a, he was like, blanking out. What are the guys with the like Amish? Like he wasn't Amish, but
he was like a Daniel Boone type.
Yeah, like a Daniel Boone type. And they were just like, well, how did you get here then? And he was like, well, my son or whatever like picked me up in his car and brought me in. It was like this whole thing that like, well, so you use public roads to get here then. You have to contribute to society. And they were like just like getting him on everything. But it is kind of crazy to think you can't opt out.
You're an American citizen, man. Gotta pay your dues.
It comes with responsibilities and benefits.
Can you opt out anywhere?
I guess if you want to go like beg a Native American tribe and be like, hey, can I come live on your land?
But they're not even opted out fully, are they?
That's a good point. I have no idea.
Yeah. Unless maybe you go to one of those like remote tribes that.
I have it on good authority that they'll spear you.
Well, so this was, I think somebody like a TikToker or something like that tried to.
You talking about Sentinel Island?
I don't know. Is this a thing that just recently happened?
Yeah.
Can you explain that?
Yeah, there was a 24-year-old, like he calls himself like a danger explorer or something like that. Some real shitty moniker. And he so there's an island off of the Indian coast called North Sentinel Island. And it contains an uncontacted tribe.
I don't think we can really say that anymore because they've been contacted. They've had outside.
That's true.
They just don't want to be contacted.
Yeah. So basically, the last like 4 people who have illegally, because it's a crime according to the Indian government to visit them,
Been killed.
have been speared or arrowed to death.
So you just got to show up with armor.
Yeah. And so it's a crime, because, respect their autonomy, I guess, that's pretty cool. It's also because they have been separated from like larger society for like a really long time.
You're probably given diseases.
And we would like the chance of like killing them with like a common cold is like very high.
Isn't that the reason that they do kill us? Is because the last one of the early people that contacted them kind of
made everybody sick?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Wow, that is so wild.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. I mean, I always used to think that shit was fake. Like, no, people are everywhere, that we're all connected. The fact that there's people out there that literally just still fucking live in fucking huts or whatever they live in, and they're in these like non-contacted tribes. Like, what the fuck? Like, do planes fly over them?
I'm pretty sure it's protected airspace. I would assume it's like the village.
You think they're not going to fucking stop airspace over something like that?
Why not? It's in the middle of the ocean.
Could you imagine?
But the airspace isn't,
just like a Navy SEAL team going in there, blow darting some guy, making him pass out, and then you just like drop him off in the middle of like Central Park.
You're talking about Mimisiku.
What's this?
Is this an anime?
No, Mimisiku is a character from like a 1995 Tim Allen movie in which
oh yeah,
he like
something jungle in the city or something like that. What was that called?
I can't remember.
It's a movie.
Jungle.
Jungle to Jungle.
Maybe that is right.
Jungle to Jungle. Yeah.
Yeah. If anyone hasn't seen it, I highly recommend it.
Wow.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Blast from the past there.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he like has, what is it? His ex-wife or his wife? No. Okay. I remember what happened.
No spoilers.
Okay. Spoilers. Jungle to Jungle. 25 years old.
And go. So basically, yeah. So he has like an estranged ex-wife who he has no idea he has a kid with. And they like meet again. And she's like, oh, by the way, you have a son. And I need you to like watch him for some reason. And so he goes, like, she's like an archaeologist. She's like an American archaeologist who's been like working in the Amazon for like the past decade. Or like 12 years or something. And so her son is like a fully, like, he's been like raised Amazonian. Like he walks around in a loincloth. He's got like face paint. He's got a little blow dart.
Do you remember why he was raised?
Because she lives in the Amazon.
Oh, she lives
She's
in the
an
Amazon.
archaeologist,
That's right.
like basically
I think
working.
I missed that part.
Be like, I need a DNA test.
Yeah. and there's this like little blonde kid who acts and dresses like a native, surrounded by natives. Maybe she's an anthropologist. That would make more sense, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And basically Tim Allen has to like take him back to New York and his like penthouse apartment and like deal with him for a week, and they bond.
To answer your question, then it's exactly like the theme of that movie. Yeah. That's exactly what I was describing.
But I mean there's a lot of random ass movies like that, right? Like there's Encino Man, also another old movie where the dude's a fucking caveman. It's Brendan Fraser. It's caveman.
Damn, so happy.
No, just like, what is it like when he's underneath the icy machine? Like,
no juice in the juicy. Yeah, no juice in the juice. I almost got him to come to my house one time.
Brendan Fraser?
No, Pauly Shore.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he was like visiting for a film festival in my town, and like I hit him up on Facebook,
Wow.
and he actually responded. He was like, "Oh, bro." He was like, honestly, I would have totally showed up, but I literally just left town. And I was like, oh man,
dude, Brendan Fraser was like one of my childhood heroes, and then he vanished.
I used to love him too.
Yeah.
That's kind of a sad story. Like,
yeah,
with Brendan Fraser and all of that.
Yeah.
Basically, he essentially trained The Rock to take his position over, kind of unknowingly, kind of, because The Rock, that was his first movie.
Yeah.
Was The Mummy. No, he didn't take over the movie.
King.
What was it?
Scorpion King.
But and then they started making the Scorpion King movies or something like that.
Yeah, but Brendan Fraser's like departure from film was like a
there
creepy
was like,
Hollywood
he
story.
was like quote unquote molested, and then I don't know. He's made a comeback though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're potentially talking about doing another Mummy with him too. I could be wrong on that, but I heard that.
That'd be cool. I would watch that.
I would watch it.
I would watch it out of loyalty.
Yeah, he's one of the few celebrities where I still am kind of like, I like you.
Yeah, he seems like a
nice guy.
Still got Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks is still up there.
Yeah. Not Chet though.
Yeah, we'll see. He's in a rap video with him.
Really?
I think, yeah, where they're reenacting like Forrest Gump scenes.
See, even with his crazy tattooy son, Tom Hanks is still Tom Hanks.
It's his son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. I like to think if my child is a crazy person, I would still be nice to them.
Is his son a crazy person though? He just got tattoos and raps.
Can't have
tattoos. Is he a rapper?
Yeah.
Doesn't he use like a Jamaican accent too?
I don't know. Is he like a mumble rapper?
I don't know. I don't.
Probably, is that even a thing anymore?
I don't know. I don't have a phone anymore.
Yeah. I don't. Well, going back to those movies and shit, like that's kind of what we were talking about earlier with us and all of the like DNA shit going on right now. Like that is potentially a real thing that could happen in the future, right? Like you're saying, oh, give him a blow, go in, blow dart him and put him in the middle of Central Park. What if same thing, you die, somebody fucking brings you back, like Fifth Element style. You wake up.
Who gets brought?
The Lilu what's her name?
Is
Lilu.
she like
I forget
3D printed?
Yeah.
Interesting.
She is the Fifth Element, right?
I barely remember the plot of that movie. I just remember crazy antics. And
Comandante Multipass.
No, it's Lilu Dallas Multipass.
Oh,
yeah. Chacon. Yeah, that was a great movie.
I gotta go back and watch that movie.
Yeah.
We love to quote old movies here.
We're on nostalgia path right now.
Yeah, if you have not seen Fifth Element 30 years ago, you go watch that movie. That's one of my favorite old school movies. Somebody was talking about that where they were like, who would have thought, they came out with this, they made this movie with this crazy fucking like unhinged person that like Chris Tucker, where like just filming his life doing like weird crazy shit and being like over the top, and then now that's like an everyday thing with like TikTokers. That's like a career.
Yeah,
he was essentially like a TikToker back in the day.
They did a movie about Chris Tucker's life.
No, in
the Fifth Element. He's like this like way over the top
entertainer,
like exuberant.
Yeah, I mean he was on camera all the time. He was just like a celebrity.
Since we started with celebrities,
yeah,
let's end it with celebrities, because you had mentioned a little bit ago that you had potentially ran into a celebrity, but you're not sure, or you are sure.
I'm like 80%. He looks a lot older.
Yeah,
but I think that could just be time passing, and also lack of makeup and bad lighting and aging.
That'll do it.
So yeah, there's a club. It's a creatives club. It's called Soho House. It's very exclusive.
How'd you get in?
My friend took me for my birthday.
Oh, nice.
So he's a member.
You did do something for your birthday, you liar. He was trying to get us to take him to do something.
Kind of against my will, and it was on my lunch break.
Okay.
And it's not that I didn't have fun. It was very lovely, but my lunch break is very precious to me.
Gotta eat those rice balls.
I don't eat food during my lunch break. I drink coffee and write.
All right, get to your celebrity encounter.
I'm building up tension so that people are excited when it happens.
Damn, bro.
Yeah.
Cutting the guy down at his legs.
You gotta build it up. But actually, this is an interesting point, and I think you guys will have thoughts on it. So there's a place called Soho House. There's many of them. They're like worldwide.
That sounds familiar.
And what they do is they keep out the pores, because membership is like $500 a month. But you get access to like all this stuff. There's like a gym. There's like a bar. There's many things. It's basically for creatives. So you typically have to be in like a creative field, but that could be like something in Hollywood. It could be in music. You could be a visual artist or a designer or a fashion designer or a writer. And you have like to become a member, you have to be like vouched for by 2 existing members. Right. And the wait list to join is now very long. So like they keep people out. They keep it exclusive in order to make it an exclusive thing.
This sounds like some sort of what is it called when they have somebody there and they make you do all those sex things?
Cult?
Yeah.
There's no leader.
Okay.
I mean,
so you haven't found him yet. You don't know yet.
The leader, I mean, there's leaders at like yoga time.
Okay.
She's
that makes
like,
sense.
Hey, touch your toes.
Your toes. Got it.
I'm so confused right now, guys. Not gonna lie.
That's on par. That's what you're good.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm building suspense.
Okay,
anyway, it's like down the street from my work, so it's very convenient to go there for lunch and just hang out. And it's like weird because it's in like a super ghetto area, but you go inside and it's like this little oasis of rich people, which I assume is like most of LA. And
wait, you went to this thing because your friend brought you.
Mm-hmm. So he's a member. He was like an actor as like a teenager. And he's now like a lapsed actor, but he's
it's not Macaulay Culkin, is it?
No, I'm not that famous friendly.
Okay.
He like makes movies as like a producer. He's more on like the technical side now, but he still finds it valuable to be in like that scene, and he has enough money saved up that he can afford to pay for that $500 a month. And he took me there at lunchtime, and we pull up outside, and we tried to park and we couldn't park because it's LA and downtown. And so we went to the valet. He's like, yeah, fuck it, we'll valet. And we get out of the car, and there's, the little valet stand. And then there's like a woman and a man standing at the valet stand waiting for their car. And the dude is like, above average height, looks just like a normal older guy. And I look at him. I was like, is that Jason Segel? I'm pretty sure it was. And we talked about it like basically as soon as I clocked him. And keep in mind, my friend who also saw him, he's like, I'm pretty sure it was. And he's like, the reason I do think it was him, not just because of his face, but because the moment he saw you see him, he like shuffled behind the valet stand. He's like out of sight. Right. And he's talking about how like this is like one of the best ways to identify celebrities is like if you ever see someone who you think like, I think that might be what's his name. And they're like doing everything they can to look inconspicuous.
See, I had the opposite experience.
Really?
Yeah.
You saw Chris Tucker.
No, that would have been fun.
He's like, what a man.
No, I was at a pumpkin patch. Yeah, I was at a pumpkin patch with my kids, and it's like a shit ton of people there. And so I'm surprised he's even there. And I had my son with me, and he kind of just like ran out in front of me, and somebody was pushing a stroller and like almost ran my kid over with the stroller. And like I grabbed my kid and I look up, and it's fucking Elijah Wood. And I'm like 99.9% positive that's Elijah Wood. So I like walk over and like I look at him and I look at my wife and I'm like, that's Elijah Wood right there. I'm pretty sure that's him. And she's like, no, it's not. And I'm like, okay, whatever. But yes, it is. And so I just like go and stand off to the side. We had ordered some food, left him alone. Like I could have walked over and bothered him, but I didn't. And I'm like, he basically almost ran over my kid. I grabbed my kid, and then we both just looked up at each other and just like nodded at each other. And then
that's Aaron.
And then like
Aaron,
I don't know if it was because I didn't like approach him after that or whatever, but he just came over and just stood next to me. I mean, we were obviously we were both waiting for food or whatever.
This guy's either safe or he's never seen Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. But we were just like awkwardly standing there next to each other, like not saying anything. And I kind of regret like not making a dad joke. I was like, yeah, fuck. Maybe I could have been friends with Elijah Wood. Yeah.
How tall was he?
Short. Yeah. He had same thing, gray, like gray hair or whatever. I mean, he looked good though. I mean, he looked older than.
He looked like he has millions of dollars.
I mean, I don't even know what that means, but.
Not a care in the world.
He didn't have any pumpkins yet, so those pumpkins were at least like $1 million a piece. Fucking Jesus. Yeah, I ran into a lot of random celebrities. One time we were at Universal Studios, and we walked into the Harry Potter land, and they have the like, what is that restaurant in there? The something dragon.
The Hogsmeade.
I don't know, but they have like a Harry Potter restaurant, and you go in and it's this like cool, like giant looking tavern thing. And there was a big like circular table with a reserve sign on it. And I'm like, that's weird. I didn't know you can like reserve tables at the theme parks or whatever. So we were going to take the table that was like next to that one, but for some reason decided not to. And then we went into another room. And then I told my wife, I was like, I got to go to the bathroom. You have to like leave the restaurant area to go to like the theme park bathroom. So I walk out and I walk by this like pretty blonde girl. She's older than I am, but she was still like pretty. And I like kind of squinted my eyes and like turned my head for a second. And I was like, Charlize Theron? And then like I kind of kept walking. And then I was like, turned around. I was like, I'm almost positive that's Charlize Theron. She had like shorter hair, but I'm like, oh, we're in Orange County or LA. There's like a lot of blonde, attractive like,
Charlize Theron's types.
Yeah. And so like I go into the Harry Potter bathroom, fucking Moaning Myrtle's in there talking.
This is a boys' room. That's
looking up my,
inappropriate.
she's in there. Like looking at my phone, like to see what she looks like recently. And she does have the kind of like bob, like short haircut. I'm like, that's fucking Charlize Theron. And I walk back in, and then she's like at the reserve table with a bunch of kids and agents surrounding her.
You are Charlize Theron.
Yeah. No, I didn't. I I don't know.
You got to call him on it.
I don't know if I would. I'm not that type of person to like, when I was younger maybe, but now I'm not the type of person
You
to
don't
like
want them to forget who they are.
The only time I've talked to a celebrity was when I was like a member of the Grammy Awards, and we would buy like the cheapest tickets, and then we would sneak on to the red carpet.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. We
holding up peace signs and moving to the cameras.
Dude. So one time we like found this like weak point in the like red carpet.
Security.
Yeah, the security. And we just hold our phones up to our, like we were dressed like we're in a band or whatever. So I was there with my band. And like I hold my cell phone up to my ear and I just kind of like walk by, pretend like I'm on the phone yelling at somebody or whatever. And they're just like, okay.
I told you I need 20% or I'm walking.
I told you only red M&Ms, only red. They just let me go on. And so we're walking through, and then we get to the end of this, like the like front area, and there's a gate to get onto like the actual red carpet, right?
Yeah.
To where they're like filming people and all that. And this lady comes over to us. She has like her like headset on with the headphones, and she's like, hey, who are you guys? And I was in a band called Jesse Backwards at the time. And I was like, we're Jesse Backwards. She's like, who? And I'm like, Jesse Backwards. And she's like, oh, okay, hold on. And she like goes off and leaves. And I was like, fuck, we're going to get booted out of here.
Who is Jesse Backwards?
Yeah, and she comes back in. She goes, all right, go out. And then like opens the gate. And then we walk out, and all of a sudden we start hearing all this, the crowd's like screaming. We're like, who is it? Who's out here? And they're all screaming for us.
Jesse Backwards
screaming for us. And there's like reporters pulling us over to the side and like interviewing us and shit. And there was like Imogen Heap right there. Lady Gaga walked like right by us.
Is that how you pronounce her name?
Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga. Oh. And yeah, there was like a bunch of, this was a long time ago. So like Godsmack was famous back then.
Oh man.
Remember that band? And I was walking and I heard some dude be like, I don't know. He's like, hey, yeah, you guys got a smoke or something? Like it was just like it was a Boston accent or something, like wherever he's from. I can't do the accent.
You just do it.
I can't do it. We can have Daniel do it.
Nope.
And I'm like, I recognize that voice. I'm like, is that Sully from Godsmack? And I like turn around and he's standing there like 3 feet shorter than I imagine him being in real life. And we walk over to him to try to talk to him. He's like not dressed up, in a suit or anything.
Well, he's wearing his Godsmack outfit.
He's wearing jeans with like these like patches all over him. And like, I'm this super awkward, like really young 20-year-old. And I just like go up to him and I was like, oh, sweet pants, dude. And he goes, did you just call me sweet pants? I was like, oh, no, sir. Whatever. I was like super embarrassed and just like, but he talked to us for a little bit. And then I think he tapped in his like guitar player or something, came over to like, take over the conversation so he could go. But he was nice. He talked to us, and there was just like a bunch of random people. Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park,
Nice.
Scott Stapp from Creed, Jennifer Love Hewitt, who I had a crush on at the time.
Hell yeah. Who didn't?
I know. Well, so she's on the phone, and my dad was there, and my dad is like celebrity obsessed, or at least was at the time.
Yeah.
Like now I could see a celebrity on the street and be like, okay, like I did with Elijah Wood, it's like, okay. So he sees her and he goes up to her while she's on the phone. He's like, hey, can we get a picture? Can we get a picture with you? And she's like, I guess so. and she like hands over her phone to her assistant or her friend or whatever. And my dad just full on puts his arm around her and he's just like holding her tight. And he's just like, oh, can I take you home? And she's like, no. And I'm just like, oh my God.
Cringe.
You're for reals? Like, come on, man. Like, what are you doing? Get out of here.
Look, you only live once.
No, never have a chance with her.
Well,
I mean, I won't anyways, but
you could.
I am pushing 40, married, 3 kids, you know.
Your chances are dwindling. Yeah.
You remember those episodes of The Fresh Prince where?
Oh, I met him too.
Oh, really?
Not Will Smith.
Jazz?
Fucking
Carlton?
I hope he's not watching this. He was a dick.
Oh.
He was a dick. It was him and McLovin from Superbad.
Oh, this must have been recent.
Some random fucking event in New York.
Yeah.
It was like a while ago.
Huh.
Carlton was kind of a dick. Like it was supposed to be like this meet and greet thing. A friend brought us to it for some reason at this bar in New York. And he was just like mad mugging everybody the whole time. We're like, dude, this is literally the reason why you're here. And then the McLovin guy, I don't know his real name. He was like
Nobody knows.
pretty drunk.
Yeah.
And then like
That tracks.
bought me and a bunch of other dudes a shot at the bar. And that was it. So I don't know.
Yeah. I can see how you could become a bitter Carlton.
Because you're not Will Smith.
Because he, like, first of all, he's never been anything but that.
Alonzo? Is that his name?
Ribeiro. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's like the equivalent of a band one hit wonder.
Exactly.
Right?
He stole. And he got kind of a goofy character.
Yeah,
And-
but
and
he
like-
also probably made millions of dollars.
Then he got funniest home videos and he did
Oh, yeah.
Dancing with the Stars for a bit, right? Or something
Yeah.
like that.
Well,
So-
Dancing with the Stars was like way later. Right?
Yeah. But still, I mean, he's had a career.
But, I mean, still, if you are adjacent to A-list talent and you end up on the C-list, you probably...
There's some bitterness, I'm sure.
I'm not saying everyone who's in this situation will end up bitter, but I'm saying you could see it.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of have to expect that though when like, you know, Will Smith, what the show is fucking named after him.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
I wonder how he feels about that dance. I bet he fucking hates it.
oh yeah, he's got to hate it. There's no
So
way.
good though. When I was in college, I was interning at an art gallery in Alhambra, which is like near LA, Gallery Nucleus, and they would do like pop culture shows, and they did a Lord of the Rings show. And who should show up but Ian McKellen?
I was gonna say Gandalf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I shook his hand.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Did it feel magical?
It was warm.
As warm-blooded creatures typically
firm.
have.
And I have not washed that hand since.
I believe that.
Gross.
Yeah. Look, it's only been like 13 years.
Gross.
That tracks.
It's my right hand.
He's a smelly guy.
Do you at least wipe with the left?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you had any celebrity encounters?
Yeah, I've had a few. The one that comes to mind, you're talking about walking the Grammys. My wife went to school for hospitality management and had some cool connections. And one of her gigs that she got out of that was kind of like working after parties. So one time she got me a role in one of these after party hosting things.
Oh, okay.
So it was at one of the hotels out in LA. It was for an after, it wasn't the Oscars. I think it was the Grammys music. What's TV shows? That's
Emmys?
Emmys. It was an after Emmy party. It was really cool, right? You were just walking through a room and all these celebrities around you. My wife gave me shit because one time I was like pointing to Elton John. I was like, that's fucking Elton John right there.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So I was in the coat rack most of the time, but then like I'd have to go and like refill things in the bathroom. Like there's just these like two little things. I made every excuse to go there every like 10 minutes. Like, oh, maybe they're a little bit less now. Right? It's just like cosmetic stuff, but I just wanted to walk around.
Yeah.
Man, everybody was going nuts for this like little candy station that we were like refilling. And
That wasn't candy.
no, it was candy. It was candy. We were in charge of it. There was a lot of people that I saw that night, and it was kind of cool. Well,
Did it?
Go ahead.
Did you have more on that one? Because I had a question for you about something.
Yeah, like again, I suck with names, but the guy from Twilight, not Edward, but the other one, the werewolf
guy from
dude,
Twilight.
The
werewolf
yeah.
dude.
I don't know his name.
Him and his cronies were in the bathroom, and like one of the things I was restocking was like this under eye, like
Stimulant.
or whatever, like to get rid of like bags under your eyes, right? It was just like these little rollers.
It's just
And one of his buddies was like, "Is this chapstick?" I was like,
He's like walking around, his lips are all.
This is roll on Botox.
That tracks. That tracks for that fucking crew, I'm sure. Didn't you have a celebrity sleep on your couch?
yeah. Oh my God, I forgot about that.
I was gonna say.
I don't know about this.
Drake from Drake and Josh slept
not
on my couch.
not the Canadian Drake.
No, not the Canadian Drake.
Drake and Josh, Nickelodeon.
Yeah, so that was a really weird thing. One of my
I don't know if we should throw him under the bus here.
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, I never actually got to see him. Apparently, he
didn't?
slept on my couch.
Oh.
Yeah, my
And you haven't watched it since?
we were renting out one of my rooms to somebody who was like a host or like a tour guide for Disneyland, and like somehow like they had made a connection and like they came and slept on the couch and pieced out afterwards. But he wore his shoes on my couch. That fucker.
I don't even do that on my own couch or your couch or anybody else's couch except for maybe Jeremy's.
I forgot about
That's why you don't get invited.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I don't know. I mean, now that I'm older, it was cooler when I was younger to kind of run into celebrities. Now I'm just kind of like, what? I mean, they're just people. I do get a little bummed out at the fact that celebrities have turned into this weird, like, I feel like everybody hates celebrities now.
Really?
I don't know. Maybe
I feel like everybody's
I
critical.
love celebrities.
everybody's critical. Yeah. It's like they're trying to tear them all down and trying to portray them in this, like, especially with the political landscape, right? Like they have any opinions on anything. Yeah. It's weird. I feel like back in the day before social media was around, they were kind of this like mystical, untouchable, unknowing, or like you'll never know these people, right? But now since everything's so connected, it's like, oh, maybe I'll just fucking slide into their DMs and they'll respond or whatever, you know? And you see everything about their lives. You see all their like random fucking breakdowns. Fucking Johnny Depp has his trial with Amber Heard and it's like the whole world sees it, you know?
I think
they would sweep that stuff under the rug back in the day. Hollywood like had a whole fucking department that would take care of that.
I feel like you're underestimating how much of that shit used to be like, it would be like gossip columns in the newspaper or
but how much like the scale in which that was getting out
it's
was
definitely
nothing.
more now.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of interesting to think about the trajectory of it, right? Because like when we were kids, it would be like MTV, right? And like, you know, like Vogue magazine or whatever, like People magazine, like talking like tabloidy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got like MTV Cribs. They got celebrities started having shows just about like their lives, right? Like there's so many shows about like celebrities just like being at home.
Yeah, but even then, like it's definitely scripted.
Yeah.
And you are not a part of that, right? Like you're kind of seeing this window into their like lavish lifestyle. And now you're seeing them like going to drug rehab, getting like, I don't know, you see like Shia LaBeouf and Justin Bieber fucking having emotional breakdowns on the middle of the street. And it's just literally on every fucking short clip on YouTube or, you know, Facebook video. And it sucks because it's, I don't want to put celebrities on a pedestal. Maybe they did have too much power, you know, before whatever and influence, but I don't know. It's kind of like what you were saying about like heroes and stuff in movies now, right? It's like everything just feels so negative. You know, I feel like they're not cast in a good light anymore. And maybe a little kid would see an actor or whatever in a movie and be like, look up to them. And the fact that they would never actually know what they were like or meet them would mean like they could still have that image of them as a hero and not have it be tainted by, you know,
there's an argument about this made by, the host of the sci-fi science fiction podcast, which I think, you know, if you're into sci-fi or literary theory, you probably enjoy. He basically talks about like, and I'm sure it's not exclusively his idea, but he talks about like, essentially like philosophical like periods, right? So like what you're talking about, like the time when people like when like there were still pedestals, right? That's modernism, right? That's like when Superman was a pure ideal of like a heroic figure, right? And there was nothing cynical about it. That's modernism, right? Postmodernism, one of the factors is that it's this like anti-idealization, right? You can't have these idealized figures. So the equivalent of Superman becomes Homelander from The Boys, right? This like very conflicted, very fucked up character who has like infinite power, but also like can't manage it, right? He's too human for like this level of power. And, you know, the same thing like celebrities in rehab and
right. And so you have nobody to look up to.
yeah.
And you have
Except for your parents.
Your parents, I guess. Yeah.
Except I got taller than my mom in high school.
We still have our fictional characters, I suppose, right? Like it's written on a page.
You gotta hold the book above your head.
That's true. But even those get torn down, right? Like you look at J.K. Rowling and her, you know, whatever way you see her comments or whatever it was, what was it, trans fucking people or whatever? I don't even know what her comment was, but she started getting torn down because of her comment. And then it's like, well, I'm not going to watch Harry Potter ever again, and this and that, and
yeah,
or even like Tom Cruise, right? Like people start shitting on him because of Scientology, and they're like, oh fucking, I'm not going to watch his movie. Not like it did anything. Obviously, he's coming out with a new fucking Mission Impossible.
One of these missions may actually be impossible. We'll have to wait and find out.
It's got to be this one.
Yeah. I have a feeling this has got to be the end, right? Like,
well, unless he signed his rights away to AI to just be him for the rest of eternity.
Don't underestimate Tom Cruise's ability to
that's
continue.
how you go clear.
Yeah. On that note, guys, I think it's time for us to get a nap. Get a long, hopefully 8-hour nap. I don't know. What time is it?
Current time is 11:03.
Oh my gosh.
I'm dead.
If we were robots, we could keep going.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not a robot.
All right, fellas. See you next time.
Buenas noches.
Good
Good night.
guys.